Okay, on this video, what I want to do is explain what my TikTok posts are about. All right, because it's come to my attention that people are spending money, a lot of money, when it comes to technology in a lot of areas that they really don't have to. All right. Um, Now, these recommendations are not going to be for everyone because a lot of people have been leaving a lot of negative comments on some of these posts when it comes to the certain CPUs that I've been using, the motherboards, the RAM, the graphics cards. Especially, for some reason, they've gotten really aggravated when I refuse to include any graphics cards with some of my computer builds. But that's only because when it comes to computing in general, some people may not be gamers. All right, it's and they're trying to save money in areas like for more capacity on their storage. They may want more RAM. They may want more um, uh, Wi-Fi. They may want Wi-Fi on their system or Bluetooth, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to scroll through here. I'm going to select and explain how some of them work. All right. Let's say, for instance, I'm gonna have to remember to mute some of the music on some of these posts because I don't want to get copyrighted with YouTube. They tend to flag certain videos that have music on them. All right, so I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. So let's say, for instance, I have right here, how would you spend $1,500 US? All right, so the iPhone 14 Max, around the time that I was creating this post, was around $1,500 on Amazon when I found it. All right. So what I'm saying is that you can either buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max for $1,500, or you could split up the budget and get a Samsung S25G along with this configuration here. Now what I have here is a i7 12700K, which is a 12 core. I think it's a hold on. I think this is a yeah, this is a 12 core processor. Eight performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. All right. Um, so this processor would help serve any computers that, um, let's say, for anybody that want to get into some serious editing, or they wanted to do some serious multitasking on their system or whatever. All right. Um, I have it paired with a 1 terabyte solid state drive from Samsung, 32 gigabytes of RAM from Corsair. I got an EVGA 750 watt gold rated power supply. I have the Corsair 4000D airflow. I have the NHD 15 cooler from Noctua, and I have the B660 plus D4. The D4 stands for DDR4 type memory. So that means that the memory here is DDR4, and I'm pretty sure the memory here is rated at 3200 megahertz. All right. So the reason why I go with the air cooler instead of the liquid cooling is because when it comes to AIOs in general, now let me show you what I mean. Okay, when it comes to liquid cooling in general, let's be honest about something here. When it comes to liquid cooling, these tend to take more effort to set up because you have to mount the radiator onto the case. You got to mount the CPU block onto the CPU to keep it cool, right? You have to connect all the cables. You got to route all the cables for the fans and the radiator um, onto the motherboard, right? On some of these coolers, you may have to plug in a USB 2.0 connector just to operate it, right? And plus, but the biggest problem with the liquid coolers in general, even though they perform well and they can keep your temperatures in check more efficiently than air, they have more parts on them that can fail. I don't think a lot of people are aware of this, but there are more parts on this type of cooling that can fail. So in the areas where you think you're actually saving money, no, it's going to cost you money in the long run because of this simple fact. All right. So the reason why I stick to air cooling is because the only part on this cooler that will eventually fail is the fan. So the only part you'll ever have to replace on this is the fan, and that's it. All right. All you got to do is you may have to get you could get a replacement fan from the manufacturer itself, or you can go to a third party. All right, and you can get that fan replaced. You can transfer the metal clips that hold the fan together onto the radiator, and you can keep the cooler much longer than you ever would be able to with a liquid cooler. And that's why I like it. Now, assuming that you're going to use the processor the way how it comes out of the box and not overclock it, I'm going to assume that that's the way how you're going to use this system if you are interested in setting it up. All right, because I don't support overclocking. As a matter of fact, I don't ever recommend it, because the hardware nowadays, modern hardware, is very, very fast. All right, especially on a desktop computer, it's very quick. All right, you don't have to overclock it to get the most out of it. All right, and you risk you risk it in term you risk your hardware in terms of longevity when you overclock it. All right, so that's another reason why I don't recommend it. So this is just one example of what I'm talking about. All right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to select another one. Okay, right over here. Okay, I just had to mute the music again because I can't risk that, with YouTube's algorithm, like I mentioned before. All right, what I have here is I have a consumer based machine. Now, let's say for instance you wanted to go into Best Buy or Walmart, or even let's say for instance you found a nice computer on Amazon that you're interested in buying, and it costs around this is a sub $600 machine. So what I have on here is the Core i3 12100 CPU, which is a quad core CPU, I believe. Let me just check this out and see. Okay, yeah, the 121, what was that? Yeah, the 12100. So okay, so it says it's a quad core CPU. Yeah, four efficiency performance cores. And it's on the 12th generation from Intel. All right, the 12 architecture, I mean. So what you're getting here is a decent quad core CPU that you can use to get into basic tasks. All right, now this configuration is not going to be accepted by everyone, because even though it has decent specs, what this is really for is for people that may want to have a machine at home that is still stylish. All right, that's why I have the MB3. What's this? The 311L. I think I'm pretty sure this is from Cooler Master. All right, let me check out this case. The MB311L. Let me see. Yeah, the 8 RGB version case that I had chosen from Cooler Master. So the reason why I went with this case is because it's going to provide decent cooling from the front mesh panel of this case, and it has a nice side panel window, so you can see all of your nice parts on the inside. But also it has a TX3000E Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card. So let me just Google that, and because I don't remember everything that I chose for these builds, so I'm just gonna go onto Google right now and search for that to see what that was about. Okay, yeah, it says it's from TP-Link, and it supports the Wi-Fi version 6 AX. So yeah, the reason why I went with this card is, some people can't afford to run an Ethernet cable from their PC to their home or office network. If they have to use their computer in another room, the only way that they can get on the only way they'll be able to receive an internet connection would be to have a Wi-Fi card. And sometimes they may have some Bluetooth speakers or something like that for their system as well. So um, the the nice thing about having a card like this versus having one that's just cheap is that it'll help boost the signal, because you see it comes with an antenna to help boost the signal. So you could put this. The way how this would work is you will install the card inside of your system on the PCI. It will use the PCI Express bus on the motherboard itself, and then the antenna will be mounted onto your will be placed onto your case to boost the signal. All right. So because I went with the B660 motherboard, I'm just gonna go Google that right now and show you. B660M DS3H. Yeah. Let me just go with this. Let's see. I'm trying to get a nice view of the motherboard, but this website sometimes plays it. Let me just go on to. I'll just have to use Amazon instead then, if I can find the right link. I'm just trying to get a nice screenshot of it. That's all. Oh, this is the AS version. I don't want that one. If I could just find. Hold on. What is this thing doing? B660M DS3H. Okay, here we go. So, like I said before, in order to use this Wi-Fi card, you have to plug it into the PCI Express bus down here on the motherboard. All right, and the way how this would work is like I said, when you plug it in, you have to use the USB 2.0 connector so that the card will be able to communicate with the motherboard when you plug it in. All right, so it goes down here. Let me zoom in on that so you can see. Yeah, what you do is you plug it in down here and plug in the card, and once it's connected to the motherboard, Windows will pick it up, and then all you have to do is load the driver for the card, and that's it. You could use it wherever you need to in the house, because like I said, it has an antenna, and it will boost the signal, and it will connect to the wireless network. All right. I have one other thing I have here is a 1 terabyte solid state drive. So it will plug into the motherboard on the NVMe slot on the motherboard itself, and that's about it. Now, the power supply that I chose for this, I think this is from Thermaltake. It's an 80 plus bronze efficiency power supply, and I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. So the reason why I have it set up like this is so that you can multitask very effortlessly. You could still download some movies on your computer and watch them. You can use it like as a media streaming computer. You can write your emails. You can still watch YouTube videos. You can still do a bunch of stuff on this machine as it is. As like I said, it will still have some style, and you could still convert this into a nice entry level PC, gaming PC. I mean, by adding a graphics card. Now, depending on the kind of graphics card that you want to pair with this, first of all, it will have to be matched with the CPU. All right, you want to be able to plug, an RTX 3080 into this system, because the processor wouldn't be able to handle it. As a matter of fact, more than likely it will hold it back because it's only a quad core. It's only an entry level quad core CPU. But that's about it. All right. So I'm just gonna go on here and see what else I have here that I can talk about. Um, I have another one here. I could. Oh, this one down here. Okay. So on this configuration, I have it consists of a Ryzen 7 5700G, which is an octa-core processor this time. So this means that it has 8 cores and 16 threads. I'm just going to go onto the AMD website to verify that. Yes, it has 8 cores and 16 threads, and it's from AMD. So this is it's on the AM4 platform, I think. I believe this is on the AM4. Let me just Google the motherboard, the BACB 550 Plus from ASUS. Yeah. Let me just check this. Oh wow, yeah, it's a very decent model actually. Yeah, it's got a nice heatsink to keep the chipset cool, and it has let's see, RGB header on the motherboard. It has surround sound as well. That's really good. And it has built-in USB-C connector, HDMI, Gigabit Ethernet here. I don't have all the details of this motherboard. That's because I basically only stick to 2 brands of motherboards, Gigabyte or ASUS. Any other brand after that, could come afterward. I'm very sure a lot of these motherboards may not sell in every country, but when it comes to support, when it comes to RMA services, when it comes to warranty, overall the overall features and everything, I tend to stick to ASUS and Gigabyte first. Any other brand could come afterward, unless the person doesn't want to buy any other brand. They may want to, or let's say, and these brands are not available in their country at all. They may not be able. That may be the only other reason why they wouldn't be able to afford to buy a Gigabyte or ASUS motherboard. But the point of this build is, again, it has another PCI Express, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi card from ASUS, and it has the NHD 1.5 cooler. Let me just check this out. NHD 1.5. I think it's the NHD 1.5S from Noctua. Okay. Let me just check out. Yeah. So the reason why I went with this CPU cooler is because instead of having, again, like I said, about the liquid cooling versus the air cooling, this will last much longer because it has 2 heat sinks to keep the CPU cool with a single. It's a dual tower, is what I mean. It has a single fan in the middle to keep it cool, and the case has 2 RGB fans to the front. So I think this is from Fractal Design. Focus G, Fractal Design. Yeah, Fractal Design. Let me just check this out. Yeah, it actually, what they've done here, I think what Fractal Design has done here is they wanted to include the 5.25-inch base to the front of the case to allow people to install, DVD drives and stuff like that if they still have them, right? So yeah, it comes with 2 white RGB fans, I think. Yeah, it has. Yeah, and it's got a lot, it has a lot of room for your motherboard, and it also has the 3.5-inch hard drive mounts to the front of the case on the bottom basing of the chassis itself. Yeah, it supports, decent cable management as well around the back. And this is where you mount your power supply to the bottom. Pretty decent. Yeah, not bad. So I'd say, yeah, this is a decent case. That's probably why I went with it. And with 32 gigabytes of RAM, again, you could support the system will support multitasking very well. And the reason why I went with 750 watts of power from EVGA is so that, let's say for instance you wanted to convert this machine now into gaming, you could do that, because the processor, again, it has 8 cores and 16 threads, and it will be able to support almost any graphics card on the market. All right, with a 2 terabytes 660p from Intel, it will help support a wide range of games on the market. Again, any movies that you want to put on the machine, it'll be able to handle that. Anything like that, it will be able to support. All right, so that's about it. And for $896, I mean, that's a steal in my opinion, because the 5700G allows you to use the computer and play some entry-level games without a graphics card. That's the whole point of this configuration here. All right. What else can I choose on this list? Oh, okay. So, all right, this build here is I have some RGB fans included on this one, and I have a GameMats 400 air cooler. So let me see what this was about. GameMats. GameMats for it. Okay. GameMats 400. Oh, it's from Deepcool. Oh, yeah, I like this brand of coolers. It's pretty good. All right. So it's a single tower cooler. That's what this is. But it has a decent thing stack on the heatsink itself, and it comes with a blue RGB fan, which is pretty good. The motherboard is from ASUS, and it's the B560M A-AC. So the motherboard has AC Wi-Fi built in, which is pretty decent. Let me go and look this up right now if it's still on the website. It's a micro ATX standard motherboard, so it's not bad. Yeah, it's got regular audio on the I/O. It's got the Wi-Fi antennas built in, gigabit Ethernet as always. It's got PS2 style port for old style legacy keyboards and mice. It's got display port. It's got HDMI. It's got 2 HDMI ports and 1 display port. It has USB-C built in. All the stuff on the motherboard itself. You can't really complain. I mean, all this is built into this one motherboard. It's got a nice heatsink to help keep the M.2 SSD cool on the motherboard itself. It's got 4 DDR4 slots for memory. All this stuff is built into the motherboard. And on this configuration, it supports the i5 11400, which I believe is a 6-core 12-thread processor. Let me just look this up. i5 11400. Yeah, 6 cores and 12 threads on the processor itself. Yeah, that's pretty good. and I included some RGB fans. Uh, so the reasoning behind this is so that you could put you could replace the single 120 millimeter fan on the in the back, and you could mount two RGB fans to the front and one to the back, so that you could have some decent cooling from the front and the back. The fan to the back is for exhaust, and the two fans to the front will be for intake. It has a 650 watt thermaltake power supply. I think this is bronze rated. It has a RX 6600, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a 1 terabyte solid state drive from Intel. So overall, this is a really good entry level gaming PC that you could have at home, and because of the GameMax 400, it will help keep the i5 cool on the heavy loads, and that's the reason why I chose these parts. All right. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, one crazy build that I would like to get into here. This is one that I did out of experimenting last year for Christmas. All right, so it's not the kind of build that is meant to be taken seriously. You know, because the specs were kind of crazy, because I know for a fact a lot of people probably wouldn't want to pair a 12700K with an RTX 3060, but I only did that because of the configuration. I had never paired a 3060 with a 12700K, because what I was trying to do is I was trying to have a variety of parts. That's another reason why a lot of people were kind of aggravated because of the components choices that I made with this one. But the nice thing about it is that the reason why I did this, I have 4 RGB fans here, and as you can see, I have 2 green RGB fans and 2 red ones, because what I wanted to do is create some style with the case. So my idea was to have, let's say for instance, because I went with the 4000D airflow. Let me just share the idea as to what I was going to try to do. 4000D airflow. Okay, so yeah, I went with the white version of the case, but it's the same it's the same model here on the website. Yeah, here it is. So what the idea here was to have 2 RGB fans to the top and the bottom. You could either have 2 red RGB fans to the top and the bottom here of the case, right? And then have the green fans, one to the front, in the middle here, and then one to the back. So what I would do is replace this fan with one of the red or green fans to the front or the back, right? Or you could do it the other way around. You could have the 2 red fans to the top and the bottom, and yeah, you could either have the 2 red fans to the top and the bottom here, and the 2 green fans, one on the middle and one to the back here. All right, so it was just an idea that I came up with, but it doesn't have to be implemented on all the builds. It's just an idea. All right, but other than that, I had a liquid cooler that also has built-in RGB. I had the 970 2 terabyte, and I also had the 970 1 terabyte, which would be installed on the motherboard itself, which is the B660 Aorus from Gigabyte. And I also had some white RGB RAM from Corsair, yeah, which is pretty decent. And I also had the 750 watt gold rated power supply from Corsair. I believe this is the RM series that they were selling on the market. They're still selling the RM series on the market as well. So that's about it, really. Let me just go with one more. Oh, one other thing that I prefer over laptops, mini PCs. So a mini PC is a small um box. It's like a box on your that you'll set on your desk, and it has everything built into the system itself, so you don't have to really worry about the performance at all with these computers. Actually, they are the same CPUs and everything that you would find in a laptop today. So the point of a piece of a setup like this is that, you know, on a lot of laptops nowadays, when you have to buy a laptop, everything is integrated with that laptop. And when but if for instance you had um, to deal with any accidents at all, let's say you had to spill some coffee or some tea or something like that on your laptop, what tends to happen is that it tends to go straight down into the motherboard, and it causes some damage on the system itself, right? It could end up frying something because liquid doesn't tend to mix with electricity. So what I prefer to recommend is by having all of your peripherals separate from the main unit itself. And because the computer is small, you can still take it with you. All right. So what I have here is uh, our Zopa portable monitor screen that I found on Amazon for $160. I have the PC itself, which has a Ryzen 7 5800H, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a 500 gigabyte solid state drive, all integrated inside the unit itself. But also I included a wireless keyboard and mouse from a brand called Joya Access. I don't know that brand specifically, but it's a combo deal, and it only costs $35. All right. So the point of this is to keep everything wireless, you know, so that it be convenient to use on the go. All right. Even though you may have to replace the batteries for some of these devices, it still helps save money in the long run, because even if something have to happen to the screen, you will only have to replace the screen, or you may have to replace the keyboard and the mouse, or the unit itself. Everything here is separate. So the only downside to this would be that you may have to carry two bags with you, one to carry the screen and one to carry the keyboard and the mouse along with the computer, because I don't think it will be wise to carry the screen alongside the computer and the peripherals inside the same bag. You know, it could get cracked or damaged, or it could get damaged in some way, you know. So to reduce that fault, I would recommend having two bags, one to carry the screen and one to carry the computer along with the keyboard and the mouse. All right. So I'm just going to go through one more. I'm just going to explain one more configuration that I have here that I can find, because I don't remember everything that I use on these builds. So let me just see what else I can find on this list. What else do I have here? Oh, what else I can do? A comparison. Okay, so this is a comparison build between a pre-built and a custom build that I created myself. All right, so this is a Cyberpower PC that costs $1,269 US, and a configuration build for around the same price. All right, so what I have here is a 12600K i5, which I believe is 10 cores. Let me see, 12600K. Yeah, it has 6 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores for a total of 10 cores, and it has the B660 plus D4 from ASUS, the NHD15. Yeah, I believe I mentioned, I reviewed this cooler before. So, and this is the 32 gigabytes of RAM from G.Skill, and it has a G360A case from Fantex. It has a 980 Pro, which is I believe this is a Generation 4 SSD, and the RX 700 XT. So even though the pre-built isn't that bad, I do believe that this is a better deal though, because Let's see what I have on here on the right side. Yeah, this is a Ryzen. It had the pre-built computer up here had a Ryzen 7 5800X, RTX 3060, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a 1 terabyte solid state drive. So why I did here was I managed to double the RAM capacity. I upgraded the. I had a let's say 700 XT. I do believe that the RX 700 XT pretty much destroys the 3060 and a lot of benchmark tests that I saw on YouTube. So, and also because the 5800X is only 8 cores, I believe. In the 5800X, let me check this out on the AMD website. Um, yeah, it only has 8 cores. So, because the 12600K has 10 cores, so that means you're getting 2 additional cores on this processor for around the same price. That's why this is a better deal, you see. And with the EVGA 700 watt gold rated power supply, now you can get into some nice gaming sessions, um, along with some editing on the side, and you can also get into some streaming. And because all these motherboards that I've picked so far all have decent expansion on them, none of these configurations have to stay the same. So you could expand your storage. And you could easily get into some. You could even add a Wi-Fi card if you don't have that. You could add a capture card onto these motherboards. Everything that you ever need is supported here. And that's what these configurations is about. You see, it's not about being able to afford the best of everything. That's not what this is about. This is about having a balance between performance and price. All right, it's not about choosing brands over, choosing one brand over another. No, it's about having a better understanding of how technology works as a whole. That's what it's about. All right, I'm very sure some people will disagree with some of these selections, but that's fine. What I'm trying to teach here is that you can either have let's say for instance this one here. You can either have a cell phone for $1,500, or you can have a cell phone and a computer for $1,500. All right, because with the expensive phones, they have nice features and everything. Yes, you could do a lot with the phones, but at the end of the day, if you drop your phone, if you make a mistake and you drop your phone on by accident, now you have to pay extra money, to fix that phone screen, and it's going to expense you further. And some people, a phone may be the only device that they'll ever have in their for entertainment, right? But so why do that when you could have some of both worlds? You could have a phone and a tablet, or you could have a laptop and a phone, or you could have a computer. In this case, a nice computer that you could use at home. And even though, yes, you may have to provide peripherals, like a monitor screen, keyboard, mouse to use it, at least this way you have a backup, right? But if you only got one phone, that's about it. That's all you'll ever have. All right. So that's what my TikTok profile is about. It's about showing you how you can expand your knowledge, how you can have whatever you want at your disposal. Is like I said, it's not about being able to afford the best of everything. All right, and that's about it.